Hello, everyone. I'm Kaleo. This is my queen, Melanie, and we are here at the Break It Down show.
Oh, hell yeah. And by the way, here comes John Leon Guerrero. I know he's prepared something to say, so I'm going to shut up and get out of the way.
Oh, yeah. Wow. We got Kaleo and Melanie. Well, for our listeners, Kaleo is the singer-songwriter and musical force behind the band Pepper. I'm going to get right back to that in a second. His wife, Melanie, of 15 plus years now. The two of them together host Rebel and Muse, a podcast that you're going to love, so you should check it out. Here's what I want to say about Pepper. Man, we've had some, legit rock stars on the show. Some of my heroes. I'm a drummer, so we had Stuart Copeland on the show. I told my kids,
God.
hey, I'm going to Stuart Copeland's house. They're like, yeah, whatever, Dad. Today I said, hey, man, we got Kaleo Wassman from Pepper on the show. And they were like, oh, damn. So, man, anytime I can legitimize myself in front of my boys, that's a win for me, man. Thank you, guys.
Well, the funny thing is, John, is you just legitimized yourself with me while going to Stuart Copeland's house, who has been one of the most influential drummers of my entire musical career.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was actually the Police, Synchronicity was the first cassette tape. I'm going to date me, but you know what? I've dated myself before. I can do it again. The Synchronicity was the first tape that I ever borrowed from my parents' collection, and it never left my Walkman, my Sony waterproof Walkman, for years.
The yellow, yes.
The yellow, the waterproof yellow. In fact, I think that's what they should call that color, waterproof yellow. There's no other yellow like it.
And wasn't it called the Sportman? Like it was the Walkman, but it was the Sportman edition or something like that?
I think I had like the lowest end one because we grew up in coffee shacks back home in Kona. So whatever the lowest end yellow Walkman was, that was the one I have.
So the question is you had it in cassette. Did the cassette version have Murder by Numbers on it?
Yes, it did.
Oh, okay. So that was good.
Yep. Yes, it did.
Plus there. Hey, where are you guys living now?
Right now we're in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Originally, both of us are from Kona.
Yes. Well, you're both from Kona. I heard you met hang gliding.
Was that on our Wikipedia or something?
Yeah. Is that not true?
Yeah. I don't know where that came from.
Mid-air, I saw her and I was like, okay, this is the one. It just happened like that. Yeah. We jumped off of a Diamond Head. And we were just circling around, and then we landed right at Duke's at Waikiki.
You landed at Duke's.
Yeah, we got married the same day. Uncle Henry Capone was there to officiate.
Yeah,
everything you read on the internet.
That's right. That's right. So no, I think the part of the story they left out was you landed, like you ditched the hang gliders and landed running, right? And then you walked right up to the omelet bar at Duke's, and you had brunch. And what better first date than that?
There's nothing like a Kahlua. There's nothing like a Kahlua pig omelet first thing at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Yeah. That is awesome.
No, that's not the truth. And Wikipedia also says that Pepper is from Juneau, Alaska. That is also not the truth.
Wow. Huh.
What?
Yeah, we're a small three-piece from Kailua Kona, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, located on the island of Hawaii, or a lot of people know it as the Big Island. And so the three of us started playing music when we were in high school. And then we just simply knew that we could only go around the island so many times. So we jumped off the island, came to San Diego, actually lived in Carlsbad. The first town that we ever moved to was Carlsbad. And we just started playing music from there.
I find it interesting that all three of you met on on Hawaii, and you all, like, none of you had any misgivings about the fact that you needed to leave the island to expand your audience. But you went to San Diego, which is almost like Hawaii light as far as like the mainland is concerned. If there's a transition place that's kind of the best, it's San Diego. Why San Diego?
I think it was because it was a perfect entry point to get out of Hawaii. However, if Fit ever hit the Shan, we could fly right back there and be there faster than anywhere else in America.
That's right.
So it was one of those just those strategic moves. But when we first moved over here, we didn't allow each other to get jobs. We were all waiters in Hawaii, making lots of money because it's what you do. And so for us to really focus on the craft that we wanted to perform and create, we held ourselves accountable for getting jobs outside of the band. So we never did, which meant a lot of fasting. Before fasting was even a thing, we were doing it all the time.
Intermittent fasting for a week at a time.
Oh my God, you're talking like months, man. We all kind of like looked like Jesus on like the worst day of his life, but we were still happy to be playing as much as we were, which wasn't much, but we were still making that connection. And, it's like sink or swim. That philosophy really helped us.
Yeah. So at the time, now, Melanie, where were you during the San Diego transition?
At this point, yeah, I was in Europe for a couple of years, just traveling around. And then I made my way to San Francisco. And I lived in the Bay Area for a couple of years. My brother was their friend in high school.
No, he's still my friend.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously. And he asked if the band could come through and stay at my house in the Bay Area. And it was, as soon as I saw him walk in the door, although I did have a boyfriend at the time, but I saw him walk through the door, I was smitten. So a couple of years later, I made my way down to San Diego and I asked if I could stay at their house for 2 weeks, and I never left.
Yep.
Okay.
That was all over.
That's better than the hang gliding story.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I still don't know where that came from. It's pretty funny.
I don't know.
And then years later, Melanie Melanie really got me into my yogic journey. Because she was already established. Now, she was doing yoga as a kid and then took a break, came back to it, and she found a studio with one of our greatest teachers that we share. Her name is Danielle Fowler. Mm-hmm. And Melanie went through teacher training, and she became a 500-hour YTT. And this inspired me because I was just watching her. Like, I want to pay more attention to my health. Because as you know, on the road, it's, you're eating at 2 a.m., probably a chicken wing, and then you're drinking Jaeger by 6 p.m., and then you're on stage at 8, and then you eat a chicken wing again at 2 a.m. So that cycle was really not what I would say built for longevity. So I was really, really interested at the time of what Melanie was doing, and then I decided to take her and Danielle's teacher training program, which has allowed me to really enjoy so much more of life, not just from my health, but from the perspective that I get to put into my music and my projects and my career. And also to be able to really get back into nature with our workshops, as our Rebel and Muse workshops.
Yeah. Well, I want to tell our listeners that they should follow Melanie at Jellybean Purple on Instagram. And,
and we're at Rebel and Muse too. You can get both of us there.
Yeah.
There you go.
What were you going to say, Pete?
I was going to say, it's funny, sometime during our lives, and we're, roughly the same age, it became less about being a rock and roll icon and living that lifestyle and more about like this holistic approach to living a rock and roll life. Because you see Sammy Hagar run around, you think that he's just drinking tequila all day, but we all know the truth is he's taking excellent care of his body. And you see the boss at 70 years old running around the stage, sliding on his knees. That is not someone who's hammering back Jaeger snots and eating shots and chicken wings, The people who do this well for a very long time, which is, you and your peers, that you just can't make it, doing it that hard, that long, living like that. What is that giving you artistically? I'm curious, like how has that opened up your eyes? Because a mature writer, isn't just saying, baby, baby, fuck, fuck kind of songs. They're doing something more.
We have a lot of those, by the way.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
right?
no, we love those kind. Pete's making an example, but we love those songs.
Right. No, Pete, totally understand. And I would say that what it brings to me is appreciation. There's a lot more appreciation that I have now that, in your youth, you kind of skip over. And what I mean by that is you automatically think that everything should work out for you without putting anything back in. So when you're in your roaring 20s, right? You're going out, you go out to drink. How many times a week are you drinking? You're not eating real conscious food. You're not really spending the time. You just kind of are abusing what is just this beautiful gift called your body, your health, and this life, this experience. So that appreciation really sets in. I think that's where I'm at with my writing. You know, a lot of it has, of course, like it's so important to go through all of the emotions of that decade, of that time that you're going in, you know? So to write about things like when you are in your 20s, it's fabulous, it's perfect. Your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, awesome. One of my greatest influences in music is Paul Simon, and he's still writing in such a prolific way, but he's not trying to recreate things he already experienced. He's allowing us to hear what he's experiencing in real time. And that to me is the sense of a very complete writer who is sharing with you and not trying to mimic what was successful, but being authentic with you in the sense of, this is where I'm at now. And I don't know where you're at now. You may be finding me at your 20s, and this is where I'm at now, but you could still listen to me what I was like in my 20s. So it's already established. His writing's already established. One of the greatest things for me is to find a writer who is not limited or fearful of allowing them to really write the things that they want to write when and there.
I want to ask Melanie kind of her version of the same question. When you're doing a yoga practice with somebody, and I was reading a bunch of your blogs from your Living Aloha blog that you had up.
Oh, okay.
How do you take someone like Kaleo, or just someone who you don't even know that well, and how do you get them to open up to these other possibilities? I mean, so much of yoga is a lot more than just having your arms out for half an hour, right? There's the other things that come along. So how do you know how to get someone to go where they need to go so you can make Kaleo be the better Kaleo through his practice?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's all about the personal journey, and it's not me making someone open up. It's inspiring someone to want to open up and to want to seek out that personal betterment on their own. And the way I do that is I really just bring in real life from my experiences, and I talk about that and I relate it to the yogic teachings. And usually at that point, someone will be inspired in something in their life to want to seek out these amazing traditions of yoga, whether it's practices of breathing for calming the nervous system, or the deeper yoga teachings, the meditation, which I think everybody should at least do a few minutes a day of meditation. It's transformational. And then of course the physical part of the yoga practice, the asana. And that's just good to get into your body and to have this awareness of what is good and what isn't good for us. Because I think we all know, if we really pay attention, our bodies will talk to us. And it'll say, yes, I really enjoyed that pizza, or definitely not, no more pizza, or whatever it is, right? Or if we're having some physical pain in our body, but we push through it, our bodies will always talk to us. And if we have that awareness of self, and if we listen just a little bit deeper, then we can create protocol, we can create movement, we can create whatever it is in our life that brings us closer to happiness, personal peace, physical, whatever feels good physically, or away from that. So I think it's a very personal journey, and hopefully we're just here to inspire others.
That's it.
Yeah.
What a thing that you guys have been able to create together. I want to ask a music question though, because this is something that sort of plagues me as a musician. I am traditional reggae, Bob Marley reggae, and the reggae that comes from the Pacific are very, very different. How much influence do you take from traditional reggae?
I would like to preface this statement with this. Jamaica is the origin. It is the purest reggae. That is it. All of the artists that are from Jamaica, they are the true source of this music, which was made out of liberation. Okay? In 1962, I believe, Jamaica won their independence from England. Reggae was everywhere. It was inspiring, and it was covering all topics, political or just being in love and everything in between. So the origin of all reggae music around the world, and yes, it is a global genre, is the true form is Jamaica. And all the Jamaican artists should be revered and respected so highly. And we should really use them in the sense of, and when I say use, really use the connections of what we have with them and bring them into this American or States reggae that seems to be more popular and more popular all the time in the States. Now, referring to island reggae, that is different. And growing up in Hawaii, we were always there. When we moved here, we found out that South America has its own, Spain, Portugal, Japan, everywhere has their
Throughout
own
Africa.
interpretation of reggae music. It's because what the Jamaicans have done with this art form has made it so vibrationally sound, and their frequencies and their topics and their rhythm and everything about it. It's just so infectious that the rest of the world gets inspired like that. So really, like what Melanie just said, right? Like, we're not here to bring you anywhere. We're here to inspire. And actually, I'm here to inspire myself through these practices. So I can show up the way that I want to show up everywhere I show up. That's it. And so when I'm listening to the purest Jamaican reggae, that's how I feel. I am so inspired because I know that they're just doing what they need to do for them to inspire themselves as well.
Wow. That is a tremendous answer, and the probably deepest answer I could possibly have imagined or hoped for. Or I didn't even imagine an answer that deep. I mean, I thought really my issue with it is that all of those artists should be revered, and I have such a hard time reflecting back. As much as their art form influences me, I can't speak in that voice. So to me, I feel like I am doing reggae a disservice sometimes because I just can't lay in there the same way. But the real thing is that the tools were different, the inspiration was different, the life was different. All of that stuff was just inspiration that I can't reach for. And I am really just amazed by your answer because that sheds a lot of light. I mean, now I have to go think about that.
Well, John, also too, don't be so hard on yourself, man. Like, you're coming from a place that it's your personal, here's the cool thing about individuals. It's really your experience, and no one's ever going to have your experience. So instead of trying to write about someone else's experience, write about your own and allow that to come out. So use the music, get inspired by it, but take it somewhere else. And that's how the music continues to go and go and go, because there's 13-year-old kids that are listening to Stick Figure that are just finding out about Pepper, that are just finding out about Gregory Isaacs. And so with this kind of communication, this is how the music lives and breathes. And this is how beautiful the globalness of this genre is. And so, I mean, really allow yourself to say what you want to say. And you do any kind of soundtrack that you want to.
Let me jump in and I want to back up what you're saying.
Pete, I love these people. Go ahead.
I want to bet he's going to say he loves me next. Here we go. Let me put myself in a better spot on the screen. Kaleo and Melanie, this is John's comeback drumming gig. We're at Dwayne Wiggins' house. He's in one of the Tonys from Tony. And Levi Caesar says, "Oh man, our drummer is delayed. What are we ever going to do? We need to practice." And Juan Escovedo, who happens to know John because they did a gig 20 some odd years before, says, John plays the traps, and they all disappeared off to their instruments, and John left John standing there like, well, now you're playing, you know. And
I hadn't touched drumsticks in 15 years.
Yeah.
So that
and Juan Escovedo signs off and says he plays the traps and just walked away. Everybody started getting back to work, and so that was his comeback gig. So don't let him fool you. He can find the groove, even if it's old and rusty. He's a funk drummer, but he'll get there.
Yeah.
Oh man, if you have an opportunity to play.
Yeah, I'm back in playing shape. I'm fortunate enough that I'm in a band now called the Uncommon Wealth, and we have a space that's big enough that we can socially distance, but still rehearse. So we're looking forward to bars getting back open again. Now, speaking of that, though, while we're waiting this out, you've been streaming, you guys have been podcasting, you've been staying busy. What new inspirations have you found that you think are going to inform your career as we get back to live music?
Sorry, one more time. There's this really annoying ding message thing that came into the computer real quick. Can you repeat that?
Well, with all the streaming and stuff that you're doing a lot of solo stuff, and you're just, has being forced into isolation informed what you think you're going to do when everything opens back up and you're able to play Red Rocks and things like that?
Oh, man. So this has really been a year of reflection, right? I'm going to say that I am not mad at 2020 at all. I've been able to actually stay in one place for the first time since the 90s, longer than a week. And it's been really incredible for me to discover who I'm becoming. And not only that, but really taking this one moment to finally realize that I've been on this nonstop conveyor belt for the last 20 years. What we've been able to do virtually and what the technology is available to us right now has been stunning. Because if this happened in any other year, it would have been, maybe a little more difficult. With that being said, maybe not. But what I am looking forward to is to be able to incorporate the skills that Melanie and I have been able to get through the virtual experience, bring that in to the next part and see what kind of balance we can come up with as far as our virtual and our physical experiences. So instead of having to do the tours or having to do the retreats all the time, we can be like, yeah, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do April virtually and then set up our entire, timeline for that and then get grounded, get connected to home, get the routine, be just really, really have that earthing, that grounding effect. So I'm really inspired that, if it wasn't for this pandemic that happened in 2020, I would probably just be blinded, still running around on the conveyor belt and not exposed to what we can do. And we've had some great retreats and workshops as far as Rebel and Muse. We have some great pepper wine experiences because, now we have our own wine. It's been so phenomenal to be able to know that there is so much that we can do when we can't go anywhere.
Yeah, you all have been busy developing a lot of different business interests. Talk a little bit about some of the ways you have diversified and some of these different projects you've got, because I've got a whole list of links here I got to get through. So,
well, Mel's going to tell you how we pulled our retreats since we weren't going to be able to have them virtually.
Yeah, so we normally do retreats around the world, and obviously that's not possible at the moment. So we've gone online, and my weekly classes, I used to own a yoga studio, and thankfully I sold it before COVID. So I taught in person. We held all of our workshops there. So we pulled it. We went online. I do my weekly classes on a platform called Lively, and I have all of our virtual events. We have workshops that are yoga related. We have workshops that are relationship and self-love related. We just encompass everything in life with balance. And we do all of that now online. And it's been a really interesting year to have to learn and pivot and get creative with how we do offer things. So let's see, our workshops, we do that through our website. We also have one-day retreats. So if we can't be in person, we can give you a full experience in a one-day retreat. We have our own Rebel and Muse sparkling wine coming up, and that's going to be launched on February 1st. And this is kind of a project of love, since Pepper has been in the wine business now for a couple of years, 3 years.
Yep.
So now Rebel and Muse is coming out with our own version, our own sparkling rosé. So that's been a really fun learning experience for me personally.
And so we'll be able to use that because here, Rebel and Muse, it's not like we're not going to take you to a mountaintop or a cave and make you fast and not have any negative thoughts. I would love to personally, but not have any negative thoughts or anything like that. It's more like we are real world based technicians. So it's like, I want to be able to find balance And how do I do that? Well, I'm going to wake up, do my morning rituals and my routines, maintain that focus on health, go through my day, create as much as I can. And then I'm going to put on some kind of blue and open a bottle of red and wind down that way. And so it's a practical way for us to approach life. Instead of going all in or extreme in one direction, you find that balance. And you find the tide, the ebb and flow of that tide. And then, so having this sparkling wine that we're about to launch, we'll be able to do an event based around that. So we're not really tied in any sense to just being one thing. And by the way, who wants to be just one thing? You could never be just one thing anyway. You are a massive explosion of colors within one being. So let them shine,
And we've been teacher training. I've had a teacher training program with my business partner for about 10 years now, or I've been a part of it for 10 years. And this is the first year that we've had to take everything virtual. So we're starting a completely virtual online teacher training group, but now we can reach so many more people. We have somebody coming in from Hawaii. We have someone joining us from Colorado. I think we have a Wyoming woman joining us. So we're really able to reach so many more people. So that's been exciting too. And also just kind of recreating how we do business, right? I think everyone's trying to do that right now. We see the restaurants out there that can't serve indoors, they're building an outdoor space. So it's about pivoting and recreating. It's been really fun.
Can you describe a virtual wine event? How's that go?
Okay, check this out. So we were wondering how, because when it comes to sound, you being a musician, John, and I also saw that guitar in the background, Pete. Don't try to hide that one too much.
That's right.
My whole main focus is, okay, well, I don't know if I want to perform because the sound isn't going to be the way that I want to. So we invested, and I was able to pre-record the shows. So I can run it through my home studio, which has been set up for years now. I can run it, I can pre-record it, I can match it up perfectly with our HD video, and I get to put this out through Pro Tools. And so I'm able to control the sound and I'm able to control the video, pre-recorded, not live. So what happens is, so I do that. And then for the live experience, we send out bottles to the participants who signed up of our wine. And we have, so we try to do maybe 3 or 4 per household, but if there's one person, there's zero judgment here. And so we send them 3 bottles of wine, and then we go through with me and our wine partner, winemaker, who is Thomas Booth, who's at the Wine Boss. And you'll be able, we'll throw his handle up there soon. But we get on there, and he's our somm, and we make wine together, just as far as from my palate and from his expertise explanations. So we're able to tell you about why we have this wine, why we made this wine, why these grapes, and why now. And so everyone on the Zoom platform or whatever platform that is on is able to learn from a somm too, and from my perspective, just being a connoisseur and a wine enthusiast. And then we go through that, and then allows for some Q&A. And then when it's all said and done, we email you the link to the private show, so you can go outside of your computer, throw it on your TV, sit back with your wine, and just enjoy your own show that won't be released anywhere else, of just me playing acoustic in this really controlled, high quality content.
That's fantastic.
Oh, it's so fun, man.
Yeah. All right. I'm making a note because we're doing that. That's absolutely happening. So, man, that is great. Now, with the sparkling that you guys are doing, did you conceptualize that together? Was that a joint mission between the two of you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's what we drink a lot.
Yeah. It goes with pizza and tacos and everything else, right?
Yeah.
Well, check this out. Here, this is my favorite thing, right? I love saying this to all my super masculine friends. It's like this. it is impossible to be angry when you're holding a glass of pink bubbles.
Yeah.
You just come for a place like, there's just no way I can do that. You're holding pink bubbles. What else is it? You might as well just throw a goddamn puppy in the mix. There's no way. There's just no way you're gonna ever be angry. And to tell you the truth, like these years of my life, I love being authentically happy way more than disrespectfully angry.
Right. Or disrespectfully masculine.
Even
Well
better.
said.
Perfectly
Well said.
said. Mic drop.
Yeah. So, that's
Wait, no, talk
perfect.
off the mic. We're not done yet.
What-
Oh, that's hilarious. Talk to us about Spellbound
if we do
Botanicals.
a virtual wine event, do we get to choose the wines, or are you curating the experience?
Okay, John, to you first. Pete, we'll come right back to you.
All
so,
right.
John, no, it's a wine tasting. So we pair the
Okay.
wines in that order, and there's 3 usually. We'll go up from there, and then we all have the same wines. We all discuss what it is, and then this way we take the pretentiousness out of wine, and we make it really accessible. So if you have no idea about wine, you're not going to like go to a place where you feel inferior. What you're going to do is you're going to have a lot of fun with a lot of people working together to understand wine more, because wine really is exactly like music. So, some people are going to love the Police. Some people not too much. Some people are going to love this Cabernet. Some people not too much. It's really the same thing. So
And some people, when you tell them what it's about and they get a better grasp of what it's about, then they can learn to appreciate it.
Exactly. And that's really what, that's the power of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And now, Pete, could you repeat that question?
Yeah, talk to us about Spell Botanicals.
Excellent.
So Spell Botanicals is a company that I created. It's all organic, oil-based skincare. And I created this. I went to school for holistic health therapy, and part of that was learning all about herbs. It was a clinical herbalism course. And I really got inspired to take a look at what I was putting on my body. The skin is the biggest organ, and whatever you put on your body, it can really bog down all of your systems if you're just lathering chemical upon chemical on your skin. And so I looked at everything I was using, and I couldn't even pronounce it. So I got inspired to do an oil-based, all botanical, everything organic, earth to skin business. And I did it for a few years. I sold it just out of my yoga studio. And then when I sold that, it was just local, people still wanted it. So I'd meet them here. And then a dear friend of mine sat me down during COVID and said, I believe in this stuff so much. I believe in you. And she's an amazing marketer and brand development. She's like, I want to partner with you. Let's take it to the next level. So now Spell Botanicals is it's thriving, and we've created this movement. It's not about we're going to fix your wrinkles. You go into a store, say Sephora, and everything is about what's wrong with you. And she has a little daughter that I actually helped deliver, and she's maybe 2 years old now.
Melanie's a doula, by the way, as well. So that'll be.
Wow, you picked well, Kaleo. Good job.
She wants to, be an example for her daughter of, there's nothing wrong with you. You're beautiful as you are. And so our movement is less about fixing the wrinkles, although the products that we make are incredible for the skin. But it's more about a self-love movement. So you're beautiful as you are. Let's turn your nightly or your daily skincare routine into this self-love ritual. So we have affirmations that go along with it. We do virtual events and workshops. Someday we'll do them in person again. And it's all about trusting that you are magnificent as you are, but also adding something, a little ritual that will allow you to, I guess, love yourself more.
Appreciate yourself. Like we were just talking, like we want to appreciate all of the things that we never really appreciated when we were indestructible. And this is just a reminder of us. Like now that we're entering into our 40s, well established in our 40s, it's just like, I just want to do some other things out of appreciation, out of gratitude for being able to walk whenever I want to walk, or sprint whenever I want to sprint, or just even get into a car. Like all of these things that could be overlooked by a lot, well, personally, all these things that I overlooked, I'm talking to myself. I'm getting to the point where now I get to carve out a little more time, a little more appreciation. And these like rituals that Melanie is talking about with Spell Botanicals are one of those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. And every one of our products, you could basically eat it. It's so clean. There's no preservatives. There's nothing that you can't read. You could actually put everything on your salad.
Yeah.
Even we have a personal lubricant. You can even put that on your salad if you want to. It's that clean.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you would really want to do that, but
yeah, but with a little bit of vinegar, why not?
You know, if you couldn't find a dressing, you could actually
throw some apple cider brags. We're good, man.
Yeah, right. Man, it's great that you guys have really created a business out of all of your disparate interests that are really all lifestyle stuff about betterment and greater appreciation for living your life and enhancement to all of the senses and everything that we all enjoy just living. This is terrific.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, it's a daily reminder for myself to live this path of self-love and bettering myself. And when you are able to better yourself, you can show up better for the world, right? For others. And
that's why they call it a practice.
Yeah.
They call it a practice and not a perfect, because you just got to keep practicing. Right?
So to surround yourself with all of this, it's a really good way to practice it every day.
Yeah.
But it's perfect that you said that you're showing up better for the world, because as an artist, Kaleo, you get the example of Melanie presenting better for the world every single day, and you have to. I mean, I know right now, of course, after all these years, you're along for the ride, but you had almost no choice but to be the best you that you could present as an artist. What say you?
Oh, definitely, man. Like, Melanie has got to be one of the biggest inspirations of why I'm still alive, in the capacity that I am still alive. And I grabbed so much strength from her practice, implement it in mine, that gives me strength. So when I show up, like Melanie's saying, anywhere I go, I want to show up so I can be, hopefully, something more to someone else.
Yeah.
And to give them just another, like, okay, cool, he's doing that. That's kind of cool. Maybe I should do that for a little bit. But again, like, this is a practice. It's every day. Some days are going to be harder. Some days are going to be way more negative. Some days are going to be way more positive. But to show up and to also have the awareness of appreciation, that truly helps me out a lot. And then I'm able to put that in anything that I do, whether it's career or personal.
Mm-hmm.
You have toured with a lot of different artists, running the gamut from Sublime to No Doubt to Snoop. As you go to festivals and stuff like that throughout your life, as you have shown up as best as you can for everybody, has there been, and I'm sure you've been an example to some people, other artists have looked to you and said, man, this guy's got it figured out. I should probably, be a little more introspective and figure out what he's figured out. But have you consciously grabbed somebody by the hand and said, hey man, you know what, this would be better if you, and mentored any younger artists or maybe even older artists about how they can create greater longevity? Is that something that gets discussed on the road?
I would never grab anyone by their hand and say that you had to do something different. What I would do is I would look at what they were as a contrast to what I want, and then I would put the effort into my showing up not like that. So the old term of leading by example, that's all I do. Plus, for me, honestly, I have so much to improve on myself that I have no time to criticize anyone. I don't have that time. It takes away from the improvement of who I'm really needing to improve. And so if there is any mentorship happening, it's usually when someone comes to me and wants to talk about something or see a different perspective, maybe ask my perspective. Then I can have a conversation. But then this is also another opportunity for me to remind myself of how I want to show up, right? And that's really all it is. I look at it as like they can take it as a mentorship or however they think. But for me, it's just an opportunity for me to reestablish out loud, this is what I want. And so that helps me to, again, just improve where I'm going.
Wow.
I'm curious, when I look at the title Rebel and Muse, is either one of you Rebel and it's either one of you Muse? I don't want to put a role on anybody, but let's talk about that. Because I got a feeling that Melanie might be Rebel.
You know, it's both and.
It's both and, man.
So when we created Rebel and Muse, the idea, the concept behind the name was that when you are doing the work and you're able to show up as your authentic self, then you're kind of being a rebel because you're not going along the constructs and the conforming to what society wants you to be. So when you're actually stepping into your power, living your authentic life, you're kind of a rebel. And when you do that and other people see, they mirror that and they see, wow, I want to be that as well, then you're also the muse. So you're inspiring others to stand in their own power. So Rebel and Muse came about because we wanted to show people that they could live authentically. You don't have to live within these constructs that may have been put in when you're a child, when you're growing up, or even in your society today. You can find your authentic self and live that way. So Rebel and Muse, I think it's both and.
I think everyone is at one point a rebel and a muse, and it goes back and forth all the time. You're going to be a rebel, you're going to be a muse, back and forth all the time. And Melanie brought up a really interesting point. Those constructs, like when you were a kid, also those suggestions that you received, whether they be from like your best friends, whether they be from your parents or your teachers or any authoritative figure, those suggestions that can actually bury themselves so deep in your consciousness that you have no idea that that's not you. That suggestion is actually someone else's suggestion that has implanted itself so deeply within the wiring that all of a sudden you think that it's you, and it's not. It was a suggestion made to you when you were in principle. And so to do that kind of awareness is like, okay, what really am I? And especially like right now, who am I? Who am I becoming? Does that serve me any longer? No. How did I keep this for so long? And the answer to me, when I'm finding things out, is I have just simply accepted that as my own wiring and had to go back into the mainframe, disconnect it, unwire it for those next movements of freedom and get rid of those things that were limiting me. They're like a governor in a car. They were limiting me. And to get rid of it, to do that work is like now, okay, the blinders are off and I see so much more. But that's such a good point, that suggestion that someone may have made to you that went completely unnoticed by your consciousness.
And in a sense, it's an act of rebellion to be able to let go, to unpack all this stuff that really isn't ours. It can even be ancestral karma that we've been carrying around.
Yeah.
So to unpack this stuff and actually stand up and say, this is who I am. This is how I want to live. And you're either with me or you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
So
actually
that's
sounds
the
like an
rebel.
episode of Rebel and Muse podcast right now. It's like, this is
like
what
that.
you all do on your show. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Melanie says
It's really
like,
fun.
we can just shoot the shit all day.
Yeah, well, you might have just changed my life. I mean, now I'm running through the mental inventory of all those suggestions and going like, well, wait a minute, that construct is not me at all. I'm throwing that out.
Right.
Just things that people have said to me, influencers of all kinds, including people who's like early teachers who I really were, who really influenced me positively on a grand scale, who taught me like, well, you ought to play this way, for instance. Just as a example that everybody can glom onto. You ought to play this way. Well, that's not how I play. And so that might have worked great for this great teacher, but maybe that's not what I was supposed to learn from that person. So yeah, I think the way that you rephrased my question about being a great example, and if somebody comes to you and says, hey, could you help me out? Think about my perspective or whatever, you know, grabbing somebody by the hand doesn't necessarily mean that we're dragging them into something, but that's sort of how I looked at it. And maybe that's not even the way that anything should, you know, you really organically, we should always be trying to improve ourselves and let everybody else around grab what they want to grab and, you know, reach for what they want to reach for. And so this is really an example of, I mean, you guys are because you've allowed your disparate interests to guide your, you know, your business, your philosophy, your example to all of us. This is really, it's all organically life-changing and seems like something that you probably would have done on purpose if you could look at yourself from 10,000 feet, and here you are doing it anyway. I mean, did it all happen on accident?
It's a practice, remember? So it's just one of those things where, like, you know, something comes into the perspective of you, but it's a practice and it's a constant practice. And again, the more you practice, hopefully, the easier something can get.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're students of Tantra and Tantric intimacy.
Yes.
And some of the teachings are that there's three people or three entities in a relationship. So there's self, there's other, and then there's the relationship on its own. And so to let go of all your constructs as individuals, you can come together in this relationship clean and clear of all of that other stuff. And I'm not saying it's already happened. This is, like I said, it's a day-to-day practice. But then this relationship can grow as its own entity. And that's what we've been, you know, 20 years together. We haven't spent this much time together in all of that time as we did in 2020. And so we're really grateful that we've had this chance to really foster the relationship as its own being, basically.
Wow.
And throughout that's where all these other businesses can thrive. Yeah.
We've sort of covered this, but I just want to back up and talk a little bit about being a modern couple right now. We have all spent a lot more time with our significant other, and, you know, our relationships are at a different place. How does one just kind of look at that and start to reframe what that is? I mean, it's easy to get sick of one another when you are stuck, you know, 24/7, all of your stressors, all of this doubt. You know, it has nothing to do with your partner, but it's easy to take it out on them. So how does someone who's feeling stressed out by all of this, how do they take their relationship and open it up some and develop some positives out of this hard year that we just experienced?
I'll go first real quick. For me, it's always self, you know, whether that what we were talking about, how do I want to show up to anything, to anywhere that I go? If I am not understanding or aware of what I am feeling or who am I at that moment, that's going to be very difficult for anyone else around me to figure it out. So I need to get centered here first. Sorry, I just touched my mic. I need to get centered here first. And with that, it gives me enough time and enough practice to show up. And then you'll be really amazed on how effortless relationships are, not just significant others, with your parents, with your colleagues, all the way around. It's like, it's almost too simple of a philosophy to get right with yourself, then go out, you know? And whenever anyone hits me with any kind of, let's just say, not what I would want to be hit with, then I'm going to look at that. Okay, so what kind of reflection is this at me? And am I going to be reactive or am I going to be proactive with this kind of energy coming at me? Because it really is up to me. I can't control anybody. I can't control the world. I can't control anything except for me on how I'm going to react and be proactive. Those are the things that I can control. So when something hits me in a way, I have the opportunity to really understand it more instead of sending that immediate reaction, which, by the way, may have been something that was suggested to me a long time ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Now,
Well, and I can add to that specifically for being, you know, working at home with a partner. we're used to him going off on tour, and I did all my stuff at home, and he comes home, it's really fun. And it was so fun in the beginning. We got into a Yahtzee game at 3 p.m. every day. And
it was like, you guys remember that, right? We're like, wait.
When quarantine first started.
I think it was like March 16th or something. We're like, wait. You mean we can just start drinking anytime?
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Listening to the Doobie Brothers playing
Doobie
Yahtzee.
Brothers getting the Yahtzee out and going for it.
And it was all fun and games. And then you realize, well, shoot, now we're going to be in this for a while. So
yeah. We've been doing this for 2 months.
We need to recreate, our entire work life, basically. So to have that respect of space, and this is something that was tried and true in the very beginning that we just kind of fell into, was, it was so fun to have him home. So he'd be in his studio working, and I'd call out from here, "Hey, babe," and I'd, interrupt him, or he'd do the same thing when I was on a thought on an email. And so we came up with these boundaries, basically, to ask for the other's time. Either send a text, an email, "Hey, do you have a second? When you're done, can I have a few minutes of your time?" Even though we're in the same place, the same space. Just having that respect and appreciation of the other one's time. It doesn't matter if, you're looking up something trivial on Amazon. It could be for something important, but it's still your time. So to have that respect and honor boundaries was really important. And we kind of fell into that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And it's been a great year working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, this year has been a challenge for people just because their personal dynamics have changed. And you guys have, throughout your careers, have adjusted and, made something out of sometimes nothing, sometimes something better out of something. And so your ability to shift, make adjustments, adapt, that's not a surprise. What is a surprise, I think, is how much has grown out of it and how much we can all take example. So I would like to just remind our listeners, because we're going to release this as an audio podcast as well, and they're not going to see the stuff that's at the bottom of the screen, but go to rebelandmuse.com, start there. You can get all the Instagram handles. You can follow Kaleo and Melanie both individually, and you can follow everything they're doing. Also pepperlive.com. I mean, there's all kinds of content to explore and enjoy, and you can now enjoy it as part of a wine experience. There's yoga, so you can better yourself all day long, as well as drink wine all day long. All of these things can be done all day. Practice as much as you want and as much as you can.
Wow.
Hey,
hearing you say that, it's making me dizzy that we have so much going on. Wow. This is why we have our planners and spreadsheets. Yeah.
For sure. So is San Diego your permanent home?
Yes. Yeah. We've been here for a long time. I think we're 10 years now here in Oceanside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So 35 miles north of San Diego. And this town has a very cool, similar community for us, like Kona.
Oh.
Of course, all of our family and all of our childhood and beyond childhood friends are back home. But we feel so fortunate being here in this place and meeting the connection, the community here. It's a small beach city. Yeah. And it's really, really awesome and cool to have so many support and friends. And like Melanie had her studio for 10 years. And so that was a whole nother community within the community of Oceanside. And just a lot of good friends and a lot of good times have been made through those connections.
I love Oceanside.
Yeah, I love Oceanside.
As often as I can be. It's so great. My friend's got a boat in the harbor down there. How great is that? It's wonderful. I love it.
Oh, next time you're down here, make sure that friend takes you to a place called the Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Have the Cioppino. It's like my favorite Cioppino anywhere in this country.
Yeah, we look right at the lighthouse from his boat. Yeah, it's great. You're right. It's really good. Really, really good. What are the odds on Pepper actually being out on the road at all this year? Are you guys trying to plan anything? I know you have dates, but that's all like suggestive at this point, you know?
Yeah. Everything's projected, you know, at this moment, for our agents and our managers, it's business as usual for them about booking and talking to the promoters and basically having their ducks in a row in case things open up the way that they're expected. However, one thing has really taught us anything about this experiment. Yeah. It's if you become attached, you might find yourself a little more disappointed. So that practice of unattachment as well is really, really important. And, you know, I'll tell you the truth, like, you know, going on the road, being a musician on the road, it's our lifestyle. I mean, that's how we make, especially in the years that we're living in with streaming music. This is where our money comes from. So I'm looking forward to getting back on the road and experiencing live energy again. But then on the other side, I can't be attached to it, or else that's not going to help my daily performance. It's not going to allow me to slip into the present moment. It's not going to allow me to really enjoy my life if I'm so attached to something and it doesn't happen. And I think we can all, you know, relate to that in some way.
Yeah. Well, I want to shout out that looks like you have a gig, because I'm in the Bay Area. So it looks like you have a gig scheduled, if gigs happen, July 8th at the Greek in Berkeley.
Uh-huh.
Is that right?
I love that. That's a great venue.
What a great venue to see you. That is a great venue. So
yeah.
If for our listeners in the Bay Area, we can cross our fingers, get inoculated, hope for July 8th to happen, and get everybody healthy and back into live venues. And man, no better place than the Greek in Berkeley.
I do love it. Like that town is just, you know, it's magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're also coming to Irvine.
I'm having a technical difficulty, and Pete's audio is coming at me at like 1/3 speed, so I could see his mouth moving, but all I hear is whoa, whoa, whoa. And if I say something that Pete already said,
yeah.
Irvine, yes,
I want to make a funny note about Irvine as a performer who stands on a stage. So I saw Shaggy and UB40 a couple, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I guess now. One of the guys in UB40 is a friend of ours. Anyhow, so Shaggy was there, and he's like, "What's up, Irvine? Irvine rocks," doing all that, you know, like, what town am I in kind of thing. And here's the thing about Irvine, and for folks who don't know, Kaleo probably knows this already. Irvine is in Orange County, and nothing in Orange County is defined by Irvine. Like, people go to the venue, and so when you say, "What's up, Irvine?" we're all like, there's nobody here from Irvine. You know, it's like, it's such a weird place like that. But it is. Have you played the 5 Points?
Yeah, we played the 5 Points. I think I've been there 2 or 3 times, and I was really disappointed because I think the UB40 Shaggy concert, I really did want to see that so much. UB40 is so important, and Shaggy. In fact, to tell you the truth, one of Pepper's very first gigs when we were just starting out in Kailua Kona was opening for Shaggy and Born Jamaicans. This is 1990.
Wow, that's a big gig.
Oh, it was massive for us, man. And so we missed them by a couple of days. But 5 Points, I mean, it's a massive, cool thing. Whenever we're there, we're like, "Hello, California," and that is, that's exactly what we do. Right. And then, you know, we were always at the Meadows before it was and then it was Verizon or Coors or something like that. So yeah, I mean, we basically, tell you the truth, California has been so good to us coming from Hawaii. And without this like place to start, it would have been much more difficult. You know, California has always been our home away from home. When I say California, I mostly mean Southern California, but Northern California is gorgeous as well. And we've had a lot of like stunning times there. Honestly, to tell you the truth though, they are completely 2 different states, almost 2 different countries. But no matter what, I mean, if you're going to ask me to pick between Italy and Spain, you're not going to find an answer. I'm gonna always go to those 2 places, you know?
My answer is yes. That's great.
Hey, and while we're shouting out Northern California, you are a endorser of Kala ukuleles, huh?
Yeah. I am.
And they're
because
right
the
over here in
ukulele
Petaluma.
was our first instrument in 4th grade.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's like if you grow up on an island, it's like when you take music classes, in somewhere continental, they give you the recorder so you can figure out what a scale sounds like.
Exactly. And so did you also know that a ukulele, it's a Hawaiian word, but it was introduced by Portuguese ranchers?
What?
Wow.
No.
So when Hawaii was discovered, I don't know, 1776 or something like that, by Captain Cook, and then maybe I would probably say like 50 years later, they started to understand like there was like a lot of ranch land in Hawaii. And so they didn't have cows, so they brought cows over, and then they had these Portuguese cowboys in Hawaiian, we call them paniolo, and they brought with them these tiny little instruments, these ukuleles. And ukulele means jumping flea.
Jumping flea.
Dancing flea. And so ever since then, when the Portuguese showed the native Hawaiians how to ranch, and at night around the campfire, they bust out their ukulele, and then that was the explosion of the ukulele, and it became such a staple after that into the Hawaiian tradition of music and hula and all of it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, hey, we've had you guys for an hour, and we want to be respectful of your time, but I'll tell you, we're big fans. We want to support whatever you guys are doing as often as you guys want to do it. So, you can look for us to host a wine event personally among our friends very soon, because I don't know if you guys saw a comment down there that said, I'm going to love the pink bubbly. That was my wife.
Oh, I saw that.
So I'm now obligated to throw a wine event, but you have to include the pink bubbly.
Okay. There's comments. I didn't even notice that over there.
Yeah. See, there she is. So yeah, I'm it looks like I'm gonna have to buy some pink bubbly now. But actually, whether that's included or not, we'll buy some pink bubbly, but we'll also host a wine event. We have some very, very good friends who would love that, and they love music as much as we do. So it's perfect. And I would say that it's perfect for everybody. So everybody get in on it. This is something that we can do now that kind of connects us with entertainment and good living. And, we need as much of that during the pandemic as we can all get. Hey, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm a follower. I'm going to follow everything.
Love you, man. Love you,
It's been
Pete.
fun.
Love you guys so much. This was really fun. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to talk more with each other.
Terrific.
Stand
Let's
by
do it
for
again.
Hey, thanks for watching the show. I really appreciate it. Right here, you can subscribe. Please do that. It makes the show grow. Hit that notification bell so you know which incredible guest is coming up next. Down below is the PayPal link. You can put a small subscription in. That is an enormous help. All that money goes right back into the show. And then right up over here are the next episodes you should listen to, curated by